Hi, in this video we'll take a look at the checklist feature on the Beyond the Track website. So say I have a track day already created here uh, under my user account. I can then go and create a checklist for it. So up here, click add, and then right now we have one very basic checklist for track day preparation that's offered to you, right? We can start from that one. You'll notice that checklists, the items on the checklist are organized by groups, right? And we can have as many groups as we need of items that we need to check off that list. And you probably want to adjust the checklist to make it your own right off the bat. Like for instance, let's say that here on the research and plans and goals, I also want to add a get track map, for instance, right? So I can come over here and type get a track map, right? And you can add as many items as you need here. I'll go ahead and save it. You'll notice that by default it will add the new item to the bottom of the list, but you can always edit the group and then reorder things. Like maybe you want this thing that we just added, the get a track map, to be the first one on the list, and then you want what used to be the first one to be the second, and so on and so forth, right? You can change them, however you want, right? And save that like that, right? And it will sort by whichever criteria you have. Next, let's look at the following. Like for instance, for bike preparation, right? We have here two items, one for tape up headlight and such, and remove or fold mirrors. If you have a track dedicated bike, you probably don't need to do those things, right? So you can just edit and select those items and remove it, right? So you click on these checkboxes to indicate that you want to remove those items, and then you save it. They're gonna get removed from the list. Another thing that you notice is that, or that you should know, is that the order of groups as it comes in this basic template, it's based on my own personal workflow. So I have it sorted in the order that I actually usually need them. Like for instance, when I'm preparing for a track day, these are some things that I want to do before I do anything else. Like I want to watch other people's videos of that track if it's not a track I've been to. Or if it is a track that I've been to, maybe I want to see faster riders to see how they, to see their lines, for instance. Maybe I want to watch my own videos on that track, and so on and so forth. Next, I want to do the bike preparation, right? Make sure, if I need to do oil change, filter change, all that stuff, brake fluids. I have the bike ready to go. That's definitely a very important thing. And then the other stuff, like I need to get my camera and accessories bag with everything that I need, chargers and batteries and stuff like that. I have a big track bag where I put a bunch of stuff there, like my suit, the ladders, my helmet, things like that. Notice that also inside of this track bag, I put my cameras and accessories, which is defined here, right? So I'm very sequential like that. I have a track box with my tools and things. I need to put together my cooler with snacks and liquids, drinks and stuff like that. I have a handbag with the stuff that I actually want to carry in my hand, like cash, the waivers that I have to turn in depending on the organization I'm riding with, the keys to the bike, right? In my case, I need to have the key for my bike, otherwise I get to the track and I don't have the keys. That would suck. And then finally, right, when I'm putting stuff in the car, right, I have a bunch of stuff like foldable chairs, the gas jug, bike stands and things like that. But I also add, for instance, the track bag, the track box, because what if I go through the trouble of checking off all those items, right? Like here, the track box, the track bag, and then I forget to put them in the car. That would also suck. So that's like you know, one step before last on my list. And then finally fuel, right? Fuel up the car, the bike, you know, get some extra gas and stuff like that. So once I've created all of this, and then again, another thing I just thought about, like here in my car, I have like camping tent and, you know, whatever camping gear I have, sleeping bag. Maybe you want to have that in a separate group, right? So what I'm gonna do is to edit my groups, right? And then here you have a list of groups, and here's where you can also set the display order of those groups. At the bottom here, I'm gonna say, you know, I want to have my camping stuff, right? And instead of adding it to the bottom, I'm gonna want it to show up before car. So it will be number 8 now, and then car becomes 9, and fuel becomes 10, right? This will be the very last one. I'll save that. Now notice, right, I do handbag and then camping stuff, which goes in the car. That's like the way I think about it. Maybe here I want to put my tent and my sleeping bags and whatever else I need for camping. All right, so I'll add that in here. So now I have that group just fine. And then maybe car. Now I'm going to remove those things that I had. Camping gear, tent, sleeping bag. All right. So once we've made all of these modifications here, this checklist belongs to this specific track day. But maybe, and quite possibly, the first time you do this, you're going to be like, well, this is usually my setup. So let me go ahead and save that as a template, my own template, so that next time I can start from my own instead of starting from the basic one. By default, it will, you know, have the same name as the one we started from, which is the track day preparation for Beyond the Track. Here you could, you know, change it to whatever else you want, or you can just stick with the same name. It's not a big deal, right? Because it's your track day preparation checklist. Excellent. Once we have the checklist defined like this, so another thing we can do if you want to, like, for instance, start over for whatever reason, you can come here and remove the checklist from this track day, right? So now it's gone, right? And then I can add it again, but this time let's add it using our own, right? The one we just created, right? So we have the Beyond the Track ones, and then whichever templates you create as a user, it's going to be showing down here, right? So put whatever name is going to make sense for you. So I'll do track day preparation, save it, right? And now we have exactly the template that we created, right? With the changes we've made, like for the camping stuff and, you know, removing things from here and so on and so forth. And then next thing was now you need to actually run your checklist. You know, depending on what time you're actually doing stuff towards this checklist, you can click here, run checklist. Now you have checkboxes where you can indicate, well, I did this already, I did this, I've already taken care of oil and filter on the bike, my camera stuff, I have all that in there. The laptop's going to be the last thing that I'm going to put in there, right? I've already checked these things on my track bag, and that's what I've done so far, right? You save it, right? And it indicates the things that you already crossed off your list. So this, in a nutshell, is the track day checklist for your for the Beyond the Track website. Since you can create your own templates, you might consider creating specific templates for, you know, tracks, for specific tracks. Like when you go to COTA, this is your list. When you go to Crescent, this is your list, because maybe, you know, if you go to COTA, you're going to be staying in a hotel, quite possibly. If you're going to Crescent, maybe you're going to be camping out at the track. So you can create separate templates, and then as you create a new track day, you just add a checklist based off that template. Very handy. Thanks for watching.